Hello! So today we're going to be talking about level placement after a trial, okay? So placing the student in the correct level is very important, and some of the trials can be misleadingly simple. Once you understand the full courseware, then you begin to understand where students really should be placed. So I've created a Google document of guidelines, but I want everyone to remember that these are simply guidelines and that you should always play it by ear in the class, okay? So I started off with, remember these are guidelines, play it by ear in the lesson, and always ask additional questions to check their understanding. Many times the student has already practiced the trial and can recite it by memory. This may make it appear as if they already know the material and they should be moved up. But frequently that's not actually the case. In China, it's very common to memorize for tests, okay? A lot of the learning in China is based off of memorization rather than by actually learning. So what they'll do is they'll schedule the trial in advance, and then they will go through the material and they will memorize the answers. So it looks like they're doing incredible. And then you move them up and they start to do not so incredible. Okay, so it's important to ask additional questions, not just the ones provided in the teacher's guide. Okay, next up, I wrote that you can also leave input in the optional feedback. Now, the optional feedback, when you're doing the after class reports, there's the trial report and then below it, optional feedback. The optional feedback is only for Palfish. And you can actually leave in there that I think the student has good basis, but starter would be too difficult. I recommend putting them in the middle of K level. You can do that. And the sales team does listen. Okay? So my guidelines for the pre-K level of Hello Fruit. This is zero base, minimal to no English whatsoever, cannot read, don't know their ABCs, nothing. This is extreme basics. Now, a lot of people in China have at least heard a few words. They might know apple and cat or something like that, but not much more. If the student cannot follow a simple sentence, then they should be in the pre-K level. If they cannot repeat, this is a cat after you in a full sentence, pre-K level, please. They don't even need to learn to read words at this level yet. So your 2-year-olds, your 3-year-olds will most likely be placed at this level, even some 4-year-olds, because reading we don't really start until age 4 and 5. This is the lowest and the most basic level on Palfish. Now I will provide the link to my viewable Google Doc in the description of the video, okay? K level is the Hello Monkey trial. Now, they can have a zero base of English, but seem to learn pretty quickly, at least able to repeat the sentences. Ooh, sorry, I can't breathe. Repeat the sentences well. So if you say, this is a monkey, they should be able to say, this is a monkey, and not just monkey. Because in the actual K level, they will be learning sentences right off the bat. I also suggest that if you are teaching a new K level student, that you give them sight words to remember. Lesson 1, they have to remember, what is this? It is a crayon, or well, lesson 1 doesn't have crayon yet. Lesson 1 has puppet, table, and chair. The sight words are this, is, what, and is. I said is twice. And there goes my cuckoo clock. So the first sight word I usually assign for that lesson is, okay? And then the next lesson I assign and then the next lesson I assign this, and the next lesson I assign what. So you get over all of the words that they need to know for that unit, okay? They should be able to parrot the sentence in full. They may have some letter recognition, and they may have even learned a, b, ba a little bit, but they're not super great at it, okay? If you feel that they're picking up too quickly and that pre-K would be too simple, sure. They will have low to no listening comprehension, and you can simplify this lesson to a degree, but don't oversimplify it. Yes, you need to memorize the sight words. If they have trouble repeating sentences, drop them to pre-K. I suggest turning everything into sentences in the K level, just basic sentence. It is a monkey. It is a cat. It is a nose. They are eyes. Do the sentences, okay? Starter level, where is the rabbit? Do not simplify this lesson. This is utmost importance. This is where it starts to go wonky. The starter trial is very deceptively simple, okay? The starter level gets very difficult by unit 3. They have to learn prepositions, on, in, under, next to. They have to make long, complete sentences. And they need to be able to read sight words, simple words, and hopefully can phonetically put together some words. Now in starter level, they do have you teaching phonics, but you're teaching 1 letter per unit, and they have to be able to read these sentences already. So I usually use the phonics section as a review only and not actually a teaching section. They should have learned phonics in K level. I do add phonics into my K-level classes. From K-level unit 1, you know the color units and the math units are short. Everybody complains about talking about a circle and the number, or not the number, the circle and the color red for 2 units, 3 units, and it's just not enough content to fill. I add the alphabet. I start learning A. I start adding it in. Phonics, okay? Now, that's my own personal choice. You don't need to add phonics if you don't want to, but I suggest it because in K-level, they do need to have a pretty decent ability to read. Let's see what's next on here. They should be able to answer basic questions. What's your name? How old are you? How are you? And they should not just be answering it with 5. They should be able to say, I'm 5 at least, or I'm 5 years old at best, okay? They should be able to read and have a pretty decent listening comprehension. This is going to be important because in the starter level, you're asking a lot of questions. You're talking a lot, okay? They should be able to complete the starter level trial as is, okay? There should be no simplification of this trial. The trial talks about where is the cow? Here it is. But when you get to unit 3 of starter level, when we actually cover this, it's where is the cow? Here it is. It is in the barn. Where is the chicken? Here it is. It is under the tree. Okay? So now we get to level 1. This is the next level. So we've already done pre-K, K, and starter. And now we're doing level 1. Level 1, once again, do not simplify this material. Level 1 and up, or level starter and up actually, you do not want to simplify at all. They should be able to do it as is with some learning included. It should not be too difficult for them. It should have something that they're learning, but most of it they can follow along, okay? They need to be able to speak in full sentences, and they need to be able to read decently well. Of course, there's going to be some words they can't read, but when they hit those, they should be able to sound them out. We will be learning some phonics in level 1, like specific, more difficult sounds such as the TH sound and the OO sound and stuff. These might be gone over some. They're gone over more in level 2 as well. But small words, general words, things like free or flip, they should be able to sound out. They need to be able to understand the concepts introduced. They need to be able to understand the different habitats, what they are. If they're 3 years old, they might be able to understand this a little bit, but they're not going to understand fully that what animal? Maybe a snow rabbit or a penguin cannot live in a desert because they would die. The temperature, the climate, they're not right. Now, you're not going to be able to teach these specific things, but it is talking about the environments, and the culture sections and the science sections and everything in level 1 are pretty difficult. You do not want a student who does not understand going into level 1. You do not want 3 and 4-year-olds going into level 1. I think the highest a 3 or a 4-year-old should go into is starter, and that's really rare. They really, because of the grammar concepts, they don't have the ability to understand it. Even if they speak well, they don't have the ability to understand why things are said a certain way. So they should really be regulated to pre-K. You can make pre-K more difficult. It's pretty easy to extend the material in pre-K. Not pre-K, in K level, I'm sorry. K level. Pre-K would be too simple. For level 1, they should be able to complete sentences in the simple present tense and the simple present continuous tense. So they should be able to say, I am, I like, just simple present tense. And they should be able to do the present continuous tense. And this would be, I am going, I am doing, I am writing, I am swimming. Verb plus ing. Okay? This is all learned in starter level. If they cannot complete a sentence in those two tenses, they need to go to starter level. When it comes to level 2, follow the TG prompted questions, definitely. Follow all the prompted questions in level 1, level 2, even in starter level. Level 2 and up, do not simplify, do not skip anything. Don't. These levels have varying grammar and speaking material that they need to be able to accomplish. And they should be able to understand without it being too difficult. There should be places where they need to learn. If they understand everything in a level, they can do everything in a level as well as your additional questions, then it's okay to move them up. But if there is a little bit that they're kind of wonky on, you should keep them in that level. They should have a little bit in the level that they do not understand. That's the point of learning. You do not want to put them in something that is overly difficult. If they skip too much material, the lesson will become impossible for them to complete. You need to put them in a level where they are doing mostly well and have a little bit to learn. So keep that in mind. Mostly well and a little bit to learn, okay? Now, there's always suggestions from other teachers. Everybody has their own style and their own thoughts on it. But this is how I generally feel about the level placement. And I have had enough students that were placed into starter or level 1 that could not do it, and they should not have been placed there. Even just recently, I had a student on her first 3. I don't know who her trial teacher was, but they placed this girl who could not count into starter level. Starter level, the first unit, you're starting at the number 12. You should be able to already count from 1 to 13, or 1 to 11, 1 to 12, 13. Now, most of my starter students that do well can already count to like 50. But if they cannot at least count to 15, they probably cannot do starter level. Starter level, they should also already know all of their colors. Okay? Level 1, they need to do a ton of math. There are lessons on addition problems, plus minus subtraction. They need to be able to do that. And for many kids that are actually able to grammatically do level 1, the math is too simple for them. Okay? So I would like you to keep in mind when you are placing your students after trials that they should be able to mostly understand the lesson, but also need a little bit of work in the area. And that should get you a general idea of how the lessons go. So I thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.